Hello everyone, welcome to C++ tutorial. In this video we are going to discuss about runtime environment in C++. First we will see what is the meaning of runtime environment, and then we will break it down further into the small parts. Runtime environment means once we load our program into the memory, so this runtime environment provides everything needed to run our program. Okay, if I want to put it in another way, basically it is the setup that allows our C++ code to execute properly. Okay, and this runtime environment provides couple of uh, you know couple of things, or maybe further I can break it down into the smaller parts. The first part I can say, that is, let me write it on my board, that is memory layout. So in this memory layout, runtime environment divides memory into a parts like code segment, stack, heap, and global. Earlier we saw it right in another video where the loading step, in this loading step, that code section, heap, stack, and global. These are all that comes under or managed by this OS and runtime environment. Okay, without this structure, program cannot manage memory properly. So that is why this memory layout is important. And once the memory layout completes, then it goes to the stack management. So whenever we call any function, a runtime creates the stack frame. Why this stack frame? It need to store our local variables or return addresses or parameters. So these are all needed uh, to store into that stack frame. Okay, as we discussed before, without this stack frame, then program cannot be managed memory properly, right? So that is why this stack frame is important. So once the function ends, the framework is removed automatically, and also this stack management step handled by both runtime environment and operating system together. Okay, this one managed by runtime plus OS together. So once these two steps comes, then runtime environment uh, calls the main function. Okay, before calling the main function, the runtime environment ensures that code initialize the global static variables, or also prepares the argument for the main function, and then finally calls the main function. Okay, calling main function. In this one, as I mentioned, just now mentioned, it ensures initializes global and static variables, and it prepares arguments for main function, and then finally calls main function. That is what it do in this step. So runtime environment acts like a bridge between this OS and C++ code here. And once this step completed, then the final step in the run environment happens, that program termination and cleanup. Let me write it down. Program termination and cleanup. Okay, so when main function finishes, runtime again comes into the action, and this runtime it calls destructor of static objects and flush out buffers, and releases resources, and also inform operating system that program is ended. So here in this step, runtime basically handles the entire cleaning up process. Okay, and here we are discussing about runtime environment. Some people may get confused about, is runtime environment and both operating system are same or not. I say these two are uh, different, and these two runtime environment and operating system are not same. Basically, runtime sits between the C plus R C plus plus code and OS. Let me write that also. R C plus plus program and OS. In between, we have this runtime, which manage all these topics which we discussed now. And also, I want to provide you one more simple analogy to understand or remember about this runtime environment. Think of it like runtime environment like a stage setup in a drama. Let's take an example: functions, classes. These are all can be called as a actors, and whatever the code that we write, we can say it as a script for the drama. But with only actors and script, then we cannot play or we cannot perform uh, drama until unless we have some stage back backstage staff or lights, mics, etc. So think it of like runtime environment is like stage setup for a drama. Okay, so that's all about this about runtime environment. Thank you.